Right, yo, guys. Red Marvel here. The Batman is out. The Batman is out. I'm joined by HH and Pat, fellow movie fans, guys, and it's we've got a lot to talk about. I think we've got a lot to talk about and dissect and divulge. But obviously, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to Red Marvel. Obviously, check out Have Hope Pot as well, and check out Patrick's channel as well. Supporting the peeps, supporting the Black Brethren. But we're now talking about Batman, man, and let's just get straight into it because I watched it yesterday. Obviously, you guys have all watched it. Just general thoughts on what was, I think, one of the best interpretations of Batman on cinema so far. But like, over
Patrick,
to you.
go for it. Patrick, go for it.
Yeah, I'll start off. Look, first of all, I think we're gonna have to learn as fans, starting from the first Batman, Michael Keaton. I don't. I'm sorry to. I don't want to offend any people. I don't take into account Adam West, rest in peace, respect, but I don't take into account that. I don't know what that was. Maybe it worked for the '60s. Let's keep it there. For me, I start off with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was when he was picked. A lot of people didn't like him because he was looking a lot. He was doing a lot of comedies, romantic comedies. Same thing as Ben Affleck. Nobody wanted him. No, why are you picking him? He's ruined Daredevil. He's not a good actor. Kicked it out of the park, even though he was in bad scripts. Good Batman. Again, we went to Robert Pattinson. Nobody learned the lesson again. After he did Good Times, he did Tenant. He was the best actor in Tenant. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't know about other people, but people still didn't get it. Matt Reeves said he wanted Robert Pattinson only. He said nobody else. He said, I just want. So he knew exactly what he was going for. Watching this film, Robert Pattinson didn't even have to talk that much. Let's talk about. Is it a spoiler free or spoiler?
Oh, spoiler.
Okay, cool.
Spoiler.
Like if you look at the scene when he's at the funeral and he looks at the kid, he didn't say anything. From the woman talking to him, he didn't say anything. All he did was look at the kid, but the way he was acting, you could tell by him looking at the kid that I have been through this too. My parents also died. I know how you feel. If you look at all his reactions as Batman, Batman is not supposed to talk much. That's why we love Batman. It's just that some Batman, no offense again, talking to Bell, that accent, that Batman voice, I'll never forget. No. So you see what I'm trying to say? This was the Batman who was just using his face, his eyes. By the way, Robert Pattinson, you are a damn good actor. Using your eyes in scenes on the way to behave a certain way, the way you can see where, like, there's a scene where he enters the room and then the police guy was looking at him. What are you doing here? He just looks at him, but the way he looks at him, we can also tell that he's like, "Do you really want to go there, dude?" Then he leaves him. He holds some evidence. He's like, "You don't have to touch that," and he leaves him again. Like, go ahead. Like, not acting by Robert Pattinson. This is the Batman we've been looking for. Somebody who's there to investigate. Somebody who's there to be a detective. All the time, it was always about fighting. Always about gadgets. This guy is simple. What the suit he had, you can actually make it in your own house and actually go out and be Batman. That's why I like it. It was grounded. It was amazing. And that guy who played the Riddler is amazing. Yes, he went a bit off balance, but everything was fine. So for me, look, as a movie, as a Batman movie, I think this might be the best Batman movie according to Batman comics. I know people will be like, "Oh, Dark Knight Rises." This is no. There's a difference. Listen to me. Dark Knight, yes, it might be an iconic movie, but we're talking about as a Batman movie. This is the Batman movie all Batman fans were looking for. Grounded detective work, a Batman who was there to investigate, a Batman who's there to find out what's happening. They tried the investigation stuff with Bell, but he only did a mobile phone scene, remember, in Dark Knight Rises, and that was it, was done. So look, amazing. Matt Reeves, amazing, good director. I knew this guy was going to take it out of the park. He did apply to the F, which was a laughable film back in the 90s, in the 60s, but now he made it serious. So,
he did Cloverfield as well. Cloverfield.
Yeah. Let's not forget. Look, this guy is a genius. They should just give him the same way as they did with the Joker. They should leave these guys to just do what they have to do. Don't touch anything. Don't try to connect things. If you try to connect things with Robert Pattinson, I think do a Bat Family. Just the family, the Robins and them. But don't go and start saying let him meet Superman. I don't know how they're gonna do that. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I'm not going to say much. Most of the things, let's see what just say HH yourself.
This is the film that I thought I was going to get from Nolan, Christian Bale and Gary Oldman. And for me, let's keep it real. Nolan lied. Matt Reeves told the truth. Before Dark Knight, Nolan said he's finally going to be a detective. And I really remember when he announced it, people were like, yes, we're finally going to get the detective. We watched The Dark Knight. Joker's the main star of that film. He was a detective for one scene. You know, when he fires the bullets and he looks at this and I'm like, okay, how did you detect it by firing a bullet? And that was it. So he lied. Matt Reeves, from the start of this film to the very end, this was a detective film. And that's why I say for me, try and walk with me here. There are two kinds of films when you're dealing in the comic book movie genre. There's a comic book movie and then there's a film.
Yeah, true.
The best comic book movie in the Batman thing for me is the first Batman film, Batman 89. Is the first comic book movie. The best film is this. Because a comic book movie is the one-liners, the set pieces, larger than life. It has its own aesthetic.
True.
A film is where we're not dealing with Heat, 7, Manhunter, 8mm, Point Break, where this is different because comic book movies have their own sort of rules that they live by. So I say Batman 89 is the best comic book movie, but we're just dealing as a film. The issue with the Nolan films is it does not know what it wants to be. Because Begins is a film up until they introduce the emitter. Then it's a comic book movie now. Dark Knight is a film up until Batman now has this like weird blue goggle things and it turns into Call of Duty when he takes out those guys in the building. And also like if you give me two ships where in one ship there are a group of criminals and regular people and the criminals don't rush to blow up the other ship, it's a comic book movie. The thing about this film is you believe this film. Do you know one of the best thing about this film? Now, because of the creep, but it was you felt that Batman was genuinely in danger.
Yeah.
Because it's when he fought, it was like, oh, this guy, he's getting shots at, he's getting hits, he's falling over, he's making it's because again now the fight could have been lighter because it was a bit dark, but the idea of the fighting of like a fight is confusing, it's frantic, it's frenetic, and I love how he captured the. But for me, again, we can talk about shortcomings or so forth, but in terms of from beginning to end, this was a detective film.
It was,
because again, if you've seen 7, Mills and
unfortunately, I haven't. To be honest with you.
You need to watch it again. I don't want to spoil you need to watch it, but if you see 7, the best part, and I'm going to give it to you. Last thing I said before I give it to Red Devil, the best thing about this film, Gordon and Batman. They felt like two detectives. This was like
working together.
Two partners, the detectives working a case throughout the film. And for me, that was the best thing about the film. So for me, I just say like, look, man, we'll talk about the criticisms, but overall, I just say like, bro, this is the first true, actual, real film we've gotten of Batman.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I obviously agree. I mean, HH knows that one of the things I've been hankering for, you know, as a Batman fan is a proper detective Batman movie. You know, so when I reflect on the Nolan movies, they were good in their own right, but we never got that representation of Batman as like. It's a similar reason as to why I don't particularly like Daniel Craig or the recent James Bond movies, because for me, James Bond is a, you know, posh British spy type of thing. He's a spy, he's covert. So this James Bond, which is like more action hero, blowing up things, all the rest of it's like, okay, it's cool. I get that that's entertaining for some people, but he's not really a spy, really, because spies don't draw attention to themselves, blow up. And the old school James Bond's a bit more in quotes sophisticated, if that makes any sense.
But we still have to give respect to Casino Royale.
No. I think that's good. I'm not hating that. Definitely not at all. So it's just more like the idea like that. I think that certain characters, there's been such a push to almost make because as I think passing before, that the superhero genre is clearly a genre that's making a lot of money, and it seems to be a push to make superhero like any character, even if they're not comic book characters, superheroes in a sense, you know, action, drama, etc. And I don't know if you could say this, but like you could make it. This Batman wasn't a superhero movie. And that's the key thing that's again. I think the reason why there's certain people that aren't gonna like it is because they're like, this isn't a superhero movie. It's not. It's not. It's a you could easily it's a crime thriller. It's something that could easily be put in the sort of like detective noir kind of crime thriller. So as you said, Seven, like people comparing, as you said, to Seven, not to Superman Returns or something like that. Like it's in almost in its own genre. And
yeah, it is. Yeah,
I just think that I mean, first and foremost, Matt Reeves said knocked it out of the park. I do think that you can tell, and I guess we'll talk about it later, but the fact that like I think had they left him alone to make it a completely R-rated Batman, I think the movie would have been even better. But you can kind of see how it's almost at times where it's like it's trying to not deep into that, but it does. Points to get you guys you already sort of said, the fact that that this Batman is more grounded, the relationships that he has with sort of Tim Gordon and other characters. There's one particular character I want to talk about later who I think we've got on a character I actually did an amazing job. Even just like I wouldn't necessarily say he overused his gadgets per se, but when he did, when the Batman moments did come, because there's certain Batman scenes in here where you're like, okay, Batman has shown up. It's still Batman, so
yeah, it is. Especially when they look in the dark or like waiting for him. You know how every time the criminals were looking in the dark,
yes,
waiting that it's coming. You can hear that Batman will come in that. So exactly. That is
exactly. So it's like it's not like it's forgets it's a Batman movie, if that makes any sense, So, but I don't know, guys. Like I just think that overall, and also I should add okay, here's the thing. What I also liked about Sussy was that like it was able to world build without compromising the main character. Because some movies where like, especially in Marvel's notorious for this, where they're wanting to build for future sequels and they've thrown a lot of stuff, and you're like, okay, but the main character, the main lead, often tends to be compromised as a result of the story tends to focus on spending so much time world building for future stuff.
Yeah, true.
Clearly this movie is world building to a certain extent, and there are things that we'll talk about later, but it doesn't do it to the detriment of the own movie. It's still a good standalone movie, if that makes any sense, So that's not about it, But yeah, for me, it's got to be at least top 3, if not one of the best.
So what would your top 3 be then?
This has got to be, because I can't.
Are we talking about based on Batman or what are we basing this on?
You see, that's the thing, because I think those are two. So you can say the best Batman film in terms of essence of Batman, and just the best film overall.
I'd say, because I guess for me, there's certain movies where, like, so for example, one of the movies that is my top 3, you're gonna probably go what, but I like it for what it does. If that makes sense,
Okay.
So not in any particular order, this movie is definitely in the top 3. Like absolutely, no shadow of a doubt behind that. I will put The Dark Knight into it just for what it tried to establish.
Yeah,
and I know people are gonna troll me for this.
Batman and Robin.
Might no, not at all. No, not at all. Just because I had fun with it. The Lego Batman movie. The Lego Batman movie.
No, that's not crazy. That's really good, bro. That's a really good. That's a really good Batman film.
Exactly, so it didn't take it. So for what it was trying to do and was trying to be, I love the Lego Batman movie.
And also, it's covered a lot of the Batman lore and everything, man. So yeah, man. No,
exactly.
But see now, for me, in terms of just a film, it's like this might be the best. Instead of just we're now looking at. So we're not comparing the whole Batman tropes. Batman comes in. Just you're here to watch a film. You're here now to look at a narrative, a natural narrative. Now, I'm like, because see, for me, which is why when people talked about the Dark Knight, like the Dark Knight is like Heat. I'm like, bro, I've seen Heat. Heat is one of my favorite films of all time. No, it's not, because you see, and this thing about the Batman. See, when you look at Dark Knight, Batman seems out of place in that film.
Yeah.
It just seems out of place. In this film, Batman feels very much at home. It feels like if the world, the cars and everything all gel well with it. Because you see, I didn't like the suit before seeing this film. But I'm seeing this film.
I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I still have issues with the suits, but I now sort of get it because it's like, oh no, this, as Patrick just said, it feels as if someone just puts stuff together.
Yeah.
So rather than, oh, this is it's like my superhero outfit now with the cool guys. No, I'm just, I got like a cowl, bits of metal.
And like I said, we've got to remember this is essentially Batman year one. This is
his second year. This is year two. This is his second year.
Yeah.
So it's
he's
like
just starting out, you know.
And for me, and because whenever you do these Batman films, because so many have been done, you need to come at it with a certain angle.
Yeah.
And I loved the angle that he came with it because his angle was, which is why I don't want to say a prequel. So I don't want to know how he got friends with Gordon. I don't want to know about his parents being
no.
No.
So basically, that's just all. People just mention it within the film, but we don't need to see that. So we're already straight in of like stuff has happened before, and we've just been thrust into the second day of him doing this stuff. Where okay, so guys know who he is, guys know what he's been operating, and we're already in the midst of some that this world has already has a history to it, so there's already weights there, and for me, it feels as if, hence why, like, he's doing like 2 series. So Gotham PD, and I think there's going to be an Arkham series on HBO Max.
And the Penguin one has been
there's the Penguin one.
The villains.
Actually, no, let me ask you guys this though, because I was having a sort of like disagreement with my brother, because my brother said that the star of this whole thing was Colin Farrell, and my thing was, you see, this is similar to Gollum. How much credit do we give Colin Farrell? How much credit do we give the makeup? I'm going to tell you guys this right now. That is the best makeup I've ever seen in my life.
Great.
Because I remember Gary Oldman in Dracula. What's it called? Again, Gary Oldman again in Darkest Hour and so forth. There's been some amazing makeup. The level of details, because the thing about this makeup is that it doesn't look like makeup. This looks like a different person. And I can't see Colin Farrell at all in this. But my thing about it is that, is it really Colin Farrell that takes all the credit, or is it us saying, my gosh, man, this looks nothing like this just looks like a totally new character?
I think we have to give him credit though, because regardless the fact, he still has to do the acting. Some of the facial expressions were amazing, and let's not forget the accent, because that's not his accent. He's Irish. Yeah. And if you, I saw the interviews, the guy is proper Irish. Like I was like, oh my God, I never knew this guy speaks like this. Like he's proper Dublin accent. I don't care. That's the Dublin accent, and that's what he has. And for you to move away from the Dublin accent and from the actions he's done in movies, so fair play to him. I liked him. Obviously now we've moved on to characters. I think we give him his flowers because the way he was doing it with the faces, some of the face reactions, like some of the moments, you know, like we all know the moment where when he was so scared, the Batman was coming after him. Like that feeling is just like he did well. Like you know, I got you. I know. Like you see, because if you have to have a different face, you also have to have the voice and the acting. So he became that. He took the makeup and he owned it. Because other actors could have bricked it. You know, the point they're coming out with an accent, you're like, what the hell is this accent you're giving us here with this character? But look, you're right. The makeup, all I can say is the people who are doing makeup, if they don't get any awards at the Globe or whatever, that'll be unfair. That'll be unfair. This movie deserves to be nominated, but you know they don't nominate.
No, but okay. So obviously, if we're not,
was the Joker nominated? The Joker, he was. Yeah, he was. No, the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. They did. I think
wait. You mean for makeup or for the performance?
I think Joaquin Phoenix was for performance.
He won the award. He won it.
Yeah, he won. Yeah.
So, look, I think I said before. Like for me, I think that the best bit of this whole thing was because I really liked Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, he was good.
Who played Gordon?
He was born to be that character. He was
because do you know why I liked it? Again, because we're not going to talk about, and I'm Patrick, I've got a bone to pick with you because we'll get it to the bad points. Because I'm going to now talk about Paul Dano because I've had a beef with Paul Dano since There Will Be Blood, but we'll get there. But Jeffrey writes, why I liked it is because, again, for me, I used to do acting. So it's before I actually wanted to be an actor. So that was my thing. And what you learn in acting is less is more. Yeah. And let the eyes do the work and so forth, and let the audience infer what you're saying by the eyes doing the work rather than you having to do all this stuff. And what I like about Jeff Wright is that he played it very low key.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So there was, for me, and people may miss this, my favorite scene in this whole thing was when they find Penguin and him and Batman start to interrogate him.
Yeah.
When you're speaking Spanish, England,
and the Penguin's like, "What is wrong with you guys? Am I the most intelligent person?"
No, because see, why I like that is because I was like, there's never been a scene that has felt so real like this in any Batman film. Oh, this feels like a real scene that you would see like in a detective film. But how, again, like as Patrick said again, when Batman comes into that the detective, that's like, oh, hey, boom. I know there was a moment that I even paused. I think there was moments with Catwoman. I was about to say, people are talking to each other. because when you look at the Nolan films, they don't talk to each other. They have monologues. So they're like archetypes. So this is my big speech. Like Alfred and Bruce Wayne, they are talking to each other like real people. But it's like if these are like real conversations rather than I am the archetype, and this is my monologue to represent who I am as a character. So,
before I forget, what you just said is right. Like we look at the Batman with Christian Bale. All of a sudden, Catwoman cares about him. Remember? Like, how did that happen? How did it happen? Like, there was no chemistry built. There was nothing they did. There's only a few situations where he helps her on the rooftop, and then at the end, she's in love already. Like, where did he come from? But here you can tell how the chemistry is building. You get what I mean? You sure you were right. They didn't talk to each other. Like Catwoman in the Bell one and him, they end up running away together. But where did they talk?
Ignore Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises was just an add-on.
That film was a mess.
Yeah, I was just trying to give an example of like what I said, that there's at least here there's talking, character building. You can tell the reason why Catwoman and Batman can end up together because chemistry is in built. But if I give an example of that situation, you're like, okay, why do you care about him now? You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, you guys haven't worked together that much. Why do you care?
Well, I should read it because I saw you nodding and everything, like the fighting. Talk to me about the fighting, because
obviously on good points, so about the movie. So you mentioned fighting. It's just obviously there's, I mean, the one of the opening scenes where he comes in and like he rescues the guy from the train and basically just manhandles all those sort of Joker, we perceive anyway, Joker gang,
backup dancers. Joker backup dancers.
Sorry?
I'm saying Joker's backup dancers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who the hell are you supposed to be? It's like, man, bro, so just stop it, So the fighting was very, but what I will say is that compared to Dark Knight Rises, that the fighting was very much close to home. As you already said, when Batman fought, you're like, I'm generally concerned that he might die. There might be something. But also, you can sense, and he says it in the movie, like, that he's angry, that he's still working for things, there's still vengeance, that like he's still not over a lot of what, because obviously during this movie you find out later on the line, that his father was in some dodgy stuff. And I've been fighting for my father, but actually my father was a bit dodged. So what and so I do like the fighting that he has physically, but also verbally with the people around him, like you talk about, for example, the relationship he has with Jim Gordon.
Jim Gordon.
Like the relationship he actually has with Alfred, because I like the fact that it's not this kind of solely a paternalistic, Alfred Butler, go and get me this, or Bruce, I'm gonna do everything for you type of thing. It's
thank you. Finally, we're tired of always Alfred and
or like Alfred, he's just there to basically make speeches.
Exactly.
Or like, what do you do? A man just wants to watch the world.
Literally, the first thing he says to him, like, it's like bro, like it's like he's like, where are you got for your commitments to blah blah blah. It's like, listen, bro, you're not my dad. Like, back off. You know, so there's tension between them, and then obviously we see Alfred, you know, getting he gets injured due to the thing, and you know how he deals with that. Like, it's like Batman. So
there was one really good scene about that Alfred thing. You know, when he's in the hospital, and then the nurse says that, okay, is there any next of kin? And Bruce says, like, just me. So it just shows how all they have is each other. You know, so just that simple thing will just show them that, I just showed it.
And even in that scene, which I was like, this Batman is cold, because Bruce has been like, he's in the hospital, like, so what he's recovering, and Bruce is like, why didn't you tell me that it was lied? It wasn't like, oh, Alfred, how are you? Are you okay? This is my fault. It was like, you lied to me, bro. So even that, I was like, bro, I mean, he's, you know what I mean? You know, so, but I'd say the best fight scenes were when he was actually confronting the police. You know, at times in this movie, I was like, is this like a BLM like advert? Because this was exposing police corruption, man. This was like, it was, if you wanted an advert for BLM, you know, so like a lot of exposed the corruption in the police. So when he was like, you know, going, was it in the precinct, and obviously he was trying to escape or something, and they're all starting. It was like, yeah, I'll take you guys on, because you could sense the anger of the fact that I now know that I can't trust any of you guys. You all corrupt. You also unlike this gym guy. So yeah, no. Ultimately, like for me, I think in summary, like, I prefer the fight scenes in this movie because, one, there was less of them, and two, it was more close to home. Like, that's you know. So, but yeah,
it reminded you a bit of what's this again? You know, the movies that came out recently that have got good fights that feel like these are real. Extraction. Remember Extraction? It came on Netflix. Extraction with Chris Elson, then John Wick. Those I'm liking such scenes, you know, like such good choreography when it comes to fighting. Not some of the fights that look so fake. You're like, you're right. He gets heat. But you know the thing is, you're right. This Batman is a bit dark and doesn't give an ish at all. And you're right, he's heartless. I think he's so into Batman, and he doesn't know how to balance life. He doesn't know how to balance that. I can be somebody else.
It may make a mistake. I remember watching a video, and someone said this, where like, because obviously you don't see a lot of Bruce Wayne during this movie, but it'll say that even when you see Bruce Wayne, he's still Batman. Like, he's actually still Batman in the way that he acts. Like, he's not.
But you see, this goes to, you see, when people go and watch a film, you can't have these preconceived notions of what you want to see. So I think the people that say, well, we want to see the playboy Bruce Wayne, or Bruce Wayne. This is a take, and in his take, he doesn't like being Bruce Wayne. He wants to be Batman, because obviously he is obviously not comfortable in his skin as Bruce Wayne. Hence why, like, bro, I think I was reading this online. You know, when he goes, they don't know, walk out to the cipher, and then he goes to the sort of like dinner table and so forth. And I think he draws the blinds and he goes like, ugh. So obviously he spends so much time at night, he hardly sees daylight. Obviously we're reaching a point of Bruce Wayne where Bruce Wayne is a relic, he's a recluse. He doesn't. So basically, he's literally Batman 24/7.
And it's year 2, so as I said, I think because it's year 2, so he hasn't learned how to balance two things at once. You know, he's new. Like, let's say when you start something new, when you start a new job, sometimes you just go hardcore at the job. Do you go night out? No, you don't go to clubs yet or drinking, because you're like, let me do this job. So I think eventually, maybe later on, he will learn to say, you know what, I have to do certain things as Bruce Wayne to get what I want. Because remember the club scene where he comes in as Bruce Wayne and he comes in as Batman. I think he's trying to test out that maybe sometimes I need to be Bruce Wayne to get something else. So maybe you realize that later on. But it's year 2, so he's new. So you're right. This guy, like, I saw, you could see from his face, this guy doesn't care. Even when they hit him, he comes back. You know what I mean? Like,
also, another really good point is, again, shades of gray. So in so many iterations, Thomas Wayne is a saint.
True,
a saint, he's a nice guy, and so forth. What I liked was how we didn't really give a definitive answer. which is why again I hate keep coming back to the Nolan films. My issue with the Nolan films is it's telling you what to think. It doesn't leave anything to interpretation.
Yeah,
But
true.
do you believe what Falcone says about Thomas Wayne, or do you believe Alfred? Now, because it's Alfred, we should believe Alfred, but should we? Maybe Maroni got him killed. So why shouldn't we believe what Falcone said? Where no, Thomas Wayne was like, Falcone, can you go and take care of this dude? And so forth. And maybe when he said take care of this dude and he got angry, maybe he just felt guilty because you know what you really wanted. You wanted to get rid of that reporter. And you know who you know the kind of mind that Falcone is. So what do you expect if you say to Falcone, take care of this dude? I know this guy is a stubborn guy, but what do you expect him to do? Yeah. So I like that how like Thomas Wayne isn't this so-called sense he was a politician who, when it now gets dirty, you've now have to now do dirty things and resort to mobsters to try to keep face. So it adds just a little bit of weight and shades of grey in so the Bruce Wayne, his parents, and also freaking Martha as well. She was obviously a bit crazy. And
everybody's bringing that. Have you noticed that? It was brought out in the Joker. Remember, in the Joker, it was also touched upon a bit that Thomas Wayne married a woman who was part of a mental. Like he liked people from mental hospitals. Then it was also brought in Ben Affleck's for a while, where because they wanted to do Flashpoint Batman. I think they wanted to do that. That's the Joker and that. So I think it's good that they started opening up that these are just not nice people, because who knows a billionaire who has never got his hands dirty? Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, they always sense. You're right, HH. They always painted a sense everywhere. There was Bruce Wayne, his parents died. Amazing. That pictures are there, statues. Like, are you serious? Like, you just get money like that in Gotham City. How it's about sort of house connected, and you're just clean. No, you can't. They didn't just let you be. You know what I mean?
Well, this is why, certainly at the beginning of the movie, and I guess this will almost transition into potentially the bad points, So, but as we talk about like the Riddler, and where like where I at least for the most of the movie, I'd say I liked him. Towards the end, it got a bit odd because it started to get a bit jokery, cartoonish. But at the beginning of the movie, and so into the middle of the movie, when you had the whole, the way that he obviously made his riddles and his crimes and stuff like that, where Batman had to figure out what he was doing and who obviously he was, and the fact that for like maybe half of the movie, I was like, is what the Riddler is? There was a question to be asked where like, is what the Riddler doing completely wrong? Is what he's doing? There was a more ambiguity question, because if the Riddler didn't do what he did, then nothing would be exposed, and things just continue going on there. And this corruption was, and that's one of the things I also liked about this movie, was that like, unlike the Nolan trilogy, where yes, there was corruption in the police and the court, stuff like that. So, but it was almost like it was just there to almost supplement the action of Ra's al Ghul and all the bigger superhero villains. Yeah. Whereas here, like, the corruption was
it's the heart of the film. It's the meat and potatoes of the film.
Exactly. It wasn't so much too much at the end when Riddler did his grand master plan or whatever that was, all those things. That really wasn't the aim of the heart of the movie. Was the complete and total corruption, every single level of Gotham, and and so as a result, because you could see that, I was like, well, you know what, what Riddler's doing isn't so bad. Because if he didn't expose it, and I'm not justifying murder. I'm not trying to say that.
It's just the way that he does it. It's a bit extreme. That he ends up with something bad. That's what. Yeah,
exactly. But this is what I'm saying. It's like this is where the moral argument comes in. But because the corruption roots so deep, sometimes I understand why you have such a reaction, because obviously his background is that he's from an orphanage. They're promised things, lies, the sorts of these almost like
let down, by the city,
let down type of thing. So, but when you see the fact that you're talking like DAs, judges, like police officers, officials, politicians, everyone all in the pocket of obviously Falcone, involved in blood and stuff. You're like, how do you actually change something when the corruption is so deep, and the only thing that Gotham right now seems to be able to listen to, and that's why at times there was a parallel between the Riddler and the Batman, because it was like the only thing that Gotham right now will listen to is violence.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to, the people, the city, they can't listen to anything else other than violence because the corruption is so deep. And that, obviously at the end of the movie, Batman comes to like the realization that, oh crap, I can't just be vengeance and fear and anger because I'm no different than these dudes. I have to portray.
Yeah, I think he was touched by your man also calling himself vengeance, isn't it? The bad guy. He was very touched by that.
No, exactly. You know, so obviously, like I said, and we'll go to the bad points. I did like how it sort of ended and how the Riddler became more Joker-esque, as it were, as the movie went on and towards the end. But I did like the fact that it did give you a, you know, it wasn't, at least initially, a case of this is black and this is white. It was like, actually, this is basically Gotham fundamentally created the Riddler. If Gotham wasn't the way that it was, the Riddler wouldn't have existed.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You know. So,
did you guys enjoy? Just one more thing. Did you guys enjoy this? Obviously, it's a smart thing, but it's a smart thing because of the war these days. Did you notice that the way they touched upon social media issues, where somebody can be bad like that, and there's always supporters. Like people are still supporting the Riddler. You know what I mean? Like people, he still had a followers. People followed him.
Yeah, no, because I think someone made a very good point that, you know, you always say that how do these guys get henchmen? So do you just get henchmen out of nowhere?
That's a good thing, showing that people can follow you.
Makes sense because extremists will always have a group of followers, and those guys that mimic him were just guys who are fully extreme, and they got, whether it's white supremacists or so forth, who would say, "Oh yeah, man, you're right," and would actually go out and trying to live and go. So his henchmen made full sense in whatever, because it's brought in the whole thing of social media, having followers of a kind of a crazy guy online.
Yeah, the way the phone was popping, just so, like, you know, when somebody has a lot of followers and they follow, like, it was popping a lot. People were like, like you see, there's crazy people in this world. It's also a question that it's both of these movies which are making me, even the Joker question society, and also I've seen Matt did the same thing in here also. That's why personally I think they missed a trick with the Joker movie and this. Somehow, if they found a way, I know you say don't connect things, but if they found a way, they all were grounded and were so similar. But maybe there was a master plan, because now I know there's been rumors saying, even though they've brought the new Joker guy, they were still saying they wanted a way these two could have connected, but they messed up already in the Joker by making it then after Bruce Wayne small in there.
No, because obviously, so this obviously spoilers and stuff and everything. So okay, this is not a good or a bad point. I hated that thing with the Joker.
Yeah. It was a bit...
Now, let me be real. Remember with you, I was so convinced that they wouldn't do a Joker thing. I thought it was Two-Face. So even when you say, "Oh, everyone thinks that you're a clown," I'm like, "No, come on, you're not going to do Joker." So we now saw like his crazy. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Two-Face. That's just his really bad side." But then Reeves has said that again. I remembered. So basically, Reeves comment is the Joker. So basically, he filmed a scene with Batman and the Joker. So what happens, I think somewhere in the middle of the film, Batman goes to Arkham Asylum and actually goes to meet the Joker. And I think the Joker sort of talks to him. So basically, they obviously have a history, but yeah, they filmed a scene with him and the Joker where Batman sees the Joker in Arkham Asylum, but he said, that he may put it online afterwards. So that'd be interesting.
I think that the taking it out was clever. You know why? Regardless whether we like it or not, the Joker is. It also just proved with the movie. The Joker is just a character that's too big. Even people thought he cannot survive without Batman. He's too big that he survived 1 billion. Like 1 billion, that movie made 1 billion, and without Batman, like imagine putting in Joker there. You know what everybody was gonna do in that movie? Our minds were going to be lost. Let's see him again. Let's see him again. Where is he? Bring him back. You know what I mean?
You see, my thing is, if I was advising, don't introduce the Joker at all to any of these films, because the Joker is too extreme a character. See, someone that walks next is Harvey Dent's Two-Face. Two-Face wasn't done well in that thing. This is a world where Harvey Dent makes perfect sense. So if you're smart, you have a second film that is just Harvey Dent.
So you don't think regardless, Joker wouldn't work in this world, because this world is dirty and bad. This is a dirty.
if it was the Joker from the Joker movie, then yes, I can see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They missed the trick. They missed the trick. They mustn't go.
Yeah. Then yeah, that can work because you can see the connection and obviously the Bruce Wayne corruption and so on. So that Joker works, but if you're now creating a completely different Joker who's now
a complete psychopath, you don't really want a complete psychopath. Oh,
you know, unless they give the only way I can see it can work is if they do a lot of world building beforehand. There's got to be almost a lot of like world building that where like it almost builds up to the Joker, and then you're like, okay, I can understand why he is the way that he is. But then you bring him onto the scene as this crazy clown. It's like, okay, this is completely out of place. Like, this doesn't make sense.
Okay, so I've got to go, Matt. Sorry, Patrick, man. Now, look, Paul Dano. You see, Paul Dano is a guy who I've had issues with all the way. So, have you seen There Will Be Blood?
No, but I saw where was he in again? You know where he kidnapped? He was kidnapping kids. Prisoners, yeah.
So yeah, prisoners. The thing with Paul Dano is, again, let's say less is more. It's overacting. Like for me, one of the best scenes in this film was, you know, the opening scene where, you know, you see the mayor and then you just see Riddler appear. I was like, oh shit, wow, because I was like genuinely scared because
this guy is a bit scary.
Yeah, no, because
intimidating.
You're like, oh, this is a creepy, weird dude. My issue is that the character himself already looks weird and odd. You don't need to do that much to push how odd he is. So
can I guess? He lost you in the prison scene when he started laughing and going.
Before, do you know when the guy has the bomb attached to him? And then Batman comes and takes the whole phone call. Like when he starts going crazy, like, oh, rah, and starts going crazy. I'm like, you don't need to do that. It's like you can play it low key because you based off the crimes you've been committing and so forth.
You're mysterious.
You're already a crazy dude. So by you just being calm and low key, it's even scarier than you now have someone crazy, because a guy that's pretty much kills people, puts a rat trap to a dude and kills a guy through rat poison. A guy that's pretty much bangs a guy on the head with like a blunt force. This is a crazy
blew up
dude.
Somebody. Yeah.
So for me, when you look at, again, John Turturro was amazing as Falcone. He was really good. When you just look at what everybody was doing and the tone of the film, Paul Dano just you basically upset the bounds of the very kind of low-key, realistic, grounded tone that was good. Because basically, what Paul Dano was doing belongs in Batman Forever. You know,
he took a leaf out of Jim Carrey's character, didn't he? For a minute there.
100%.
So go on, Pat.
I think he was trying. I think what I noticed is, I think he was maybe he didn't convince himself that I've done the work. I think it's sort of trying to say, maybe let me show that this guy is a maniac, that this guy is crazy. But you're right, you already showed us that.
This is where, again, this is from my experience making films. This is where the director comes in. So as an actor, you are reliant on your director. As an actor, you're going to try stuff. Try. The director says, no, try this way.
That
didn't work. So your director is the guy that sort of helps guys, because the actor is always going to experiment, because the actors just want to experiment. Which is why, again, you look at Bill's voice. That's not on Bill. That's on Nolan. Because Nolan could be like, yo, Bill, that's not working.
Turn it down.
So Matt Reeves should have been like, yo, Paul, just bring it down a bit more low-key and so forth, because it's upsetting the balance and everything. So, I mean, for me, it's because it was going so well, that threw me off. That just threw me off his thing, so...
No, I mean, it's like so like I think at the beginning it worked, you know, and I think maybe why it was more how can I say, it was more noticeable was because the whole riddle aspect was done in such a logical way that you didn't then need to go to bring this. It was weird. It's like you clearly you're an intelligent person.
Yes.
The riddles, the way that you set up everything that you set up, like is like, so you're trying to make this guy a maniac, a crazy maniac lunatic, but like clearly he's not, because like everything that has been set up to this point has been very intelligent.
Shows
So
a meticulous guy. Yes,
exactly,
yes.
you're very meticulous. So to then go, it's like, like he's instead what would have been nice on those videos, for example, would have been like for him to, for example, just been like the Riddler, just been like to have said another riddle, for example, like to continue the riddle. So that way you're like, okay, the guy's clearly unhinged because he's just telling riddles, but like it doesn't, but it's not to the point where you're thinking, this guy is just saying random words and looking insane and something. It's just his MOT based on what he's doing, i.e. the Riddler, he's the Riddler, so because at the end of the movie, you're like, okay, so what's the difference between him and Joker, potentially? Because he's now saying something like, no, just
because like when you saw them like both laughing in the jail, so I was like, so because see, I'm not a fan of the Joker. I'm not, because for me, I'm like, I know the Joker, he's popular, he's cool, he's funny, but there is more depth in Riddler and Two-Face that I find more. Joker is not an interesting character. He's just mad. He's fun. He's not interesting. Like Batman is interesting. Like Riddler is interesting because there's so much psychology and texture to this kind of character. So I just thought that's for like Riddler, which is why it was so good that they made Riddler, because okay, this isn't a Batman film that we've seen before, because Riddler in Batman Forever was just, the guy was just completely mad.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
very mad.
Okay. Look, I mean, she looks good. She looks great. She is great.
Come on,
she is great.
Don't throw her.
Are you dissing? Are you dissing?
Because see, for me, I don't know how old you guys are. I don't know whether you guys used to watch A Different World or The Cosby Show.
The Cosby Show. Are you talking about the Cosby Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen few, but I didn't sit down and watch all of it.
Yeah, like I grew up with that. So basically, Zoe Kravitz's mother is Lisa Bonet, and she used to be on this show called A Different World and A Cosby Show and so forth. And she was seen as, she's like the sexy light skin. So this is her daughter. And this is my thing here is that is a very, very good role. If you give that to a really good actress, that elevates the film. Because when you just look at how important that role is, and because have you guys read the comic Batman Year One?
Yeah, I've read it ages ago. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Basically, that's 100%. That is modeled on the Catwoman in Batman Year One. Because in Batman Year One, like Catwoman is black, and she's basically embedded into the city and so forth. And everything. So, because really, Catwoman is pretty much a regular person living within the muck and everything of Gotham City, caught up in the corruption and so forth. She's just trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And she was fine, but you could have done so much more with a better actress in that role. So it was a bit like,
Don't you think it was purposely done so that she doesn't
This is the thing.
Certain things are purposely done so she doesn't overshadow.
Yeah, that's a part of me is like it's difficult, because one of my fears, especially watching the recent trailers, when you saw more of her, was like, oh, I don't want her to completely like over outstage Robert Pattinson's Batman, because I want us to focus on obviously Batman.
Yeah.
And then in fairness to her, I mean, maybe it's because. Okay, I think Michelle Pfeiffer did a decent job as Catwoman, back hands and down. So, but the bar for Catwoman has been so low, like so low that
and Hathaway was
Hathaway was bad. We're not even going to talk about the Halle Berry movie because I mean,
bro. When she's on that bike and that outfit was tier one. That outfit was tier one.
The outfit was good.
Wait. So as soon as you saw the outfit, let's say when you're rating a movie out of 10, as soon as you saw the outfit we got it to 5 already. It was just halfway. It's just at the movie.
No. Just for the outfit alone, it gets 5 marks because it gets 0 without the outfit. So yeah.
I mean, we need to do. I was saying this. We need to do some like I don't know if you watch like Double Toast. They have like these bad movie review things. We need to do like a bad movie review like segments sometimes.
Bro, I was watching the Batman and Robin one, but bro, I forget. Do you know how messed up that film was?
That's bad, man.
Well, the Batman had nipples, and he had a bad credit card. Remember? Oh my god, that was horrible. Who thought that?
No. Do you know that because I was doing like retrospective reviews? Yeah, I thought that I was because I was waiting. Did they go to space? I was like, no, they went to space.
They went to space. They went into space, and then they surfboard. What?
On ice, and the lines from there. Everybody stay cool.
Yes, chill. You know,
chill.
Chill.
Shout out to
he said, you know what? There's a part where it kills me all the time. He freezes the pipes. He's like, this is why you should winterize your pipes. I'm like,
oh my god.
That movie needs a review. Not right.
We definitely, well, like at some point we need to have like almost like a bad movie review segment. Yeah. We have a list of movies and then we just go back and we just roast some of these as previous ones and Catwoman in there. But yeah, so my point is that, like, for me, the bar for Catwoman wasn't particularly high to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's not that she didn't. So for me, in the context of this movie, I agree. I'm not saying that she's like a fantastic actor, but I think she did enough. I don't think her inclusion brought down the movie. You're right. Maybe a better actor could have made it better, but I don't think it was enough that it was like, oh, this is now taken. Is now taken from the movie. It's demeaned it, and it was also nice to actually have a Catwoman that, you know, maybe this is my own personal opinion, but like wasn't selfish. You know, that like she obviously had her intentions. Like, you know, she was essentially like a hero, but like obviously a father, and so that was bit of a douche, you know. So, but that there was essentially what I'm saying is that there was genuine, because the problem with Catwoman depiction sometimes is that she's written as a kind of like a anti-hero / villain / love interest of Batman, but more often not has no real motivation behind why she does what she does. Whereas at least in this movie, they at least gave her a motivation to be.
No. She was a character. She was an actual character.
Yeah. So wherever scene she was in, you're like, okay, I can see the purpose behind what she was doing, you know, and especially when, you know, you find out that
she's the daughter of Falcone.
Exactly, that scene between him and something like what is it like? He flips off because at this point Bruce basically doesn't trust anybody. I was looking at the scene. I was like, one point, it's like, is Bruce gonna like get Catwoman or something? Because he's so angry. Like, bro, some violence is coming out, you know. But he didn't, you know. So and obviously,
and another thing that came in is things that have been ignored is at least Catwoman in here they showed that she's still a cat burglar, that she still does the stealing, because people don't understand that that's what she was in the comic books, and that's why Batman kept on catching her all the time. He catches the stealing. That's what he does. He even in the cartoons he always catches the stealing something. She steals something. That's how she survives in Gotham, by stealing things. She cannot afford anything. She steals it. So. It's a good thing. I think Zoe Kravitz did her part, but I see that also. I think that trying to get her to do her own thing, her own series, because when she goes to that city that she was trying to get Batman to go, if you go in one of the comic books, apparently there's a whole comic book of her in that city, and she becomes a hero in that city. So maybe that's what the whole thing where I'm going there, you're coming with me. No, you're not. But she goes there. I think they're trying to give her own show. Hopefully they do. You know what? Hopefully they keep a Catwoman movie and we redeem ourselves from the Halle Berry super cat.
Halle Berry thing, yeah.
Any other bad points just before we might maybe tie into like honing on like our favorite character appearances?
Wait, can I ask one more thing for you two guys? Do you hate the length of the movie? Do you think the length of the movie was necessary?
That's a bad point. Okay, yes, go on.
That's what we see.
Go on.
I'm happy that you're going to go 3 hours. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I love long films. Like one of my favorite films is Lawrence of Arabia, which is like almost 4 hours long. You know, if you're going to do a long film, you have to have a certain level of actor to carry you through.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Can Pattinson carry a 3-hour film when he's in almost every scene? That's a tall ask.
Yeah.
So I think that, you see, for me, I didn't feel the length of the film because there were so many different elements and so many different moving pieces. But basically, the length didn't bother me, but I noticed the length of the film. But it didn't bother me. But if you have a charismatic, magnetic actor who guides you through and you are fascinated by him and so forth, then that is what you need to carry throughout film. So it's a tall ask to get a Robert Pattinson who he's still sort of trying to gain respect after Twilight wrap. So it's a tall ask to get Robert Pattinson to really lead a 3-hour film. So if you're doing 3 hours, and also let's be real, I like 3 hours is cool. You can easily make this 2.5.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, you could have.
Easily make the 2.5. So
no, I agree. I think it was you know, I think that if it had gone any longer, I think that people would definitely been like, okay, no, this is taking the mick.
So, let's stop it now.
Just stop it now. So, but let alone any extended stuff. So, but yeah, I think as you said, the Paul Dano's depiction towards the end as Riddler, Catwoman at times, and the length of the movie were probably, I'd say, the main bad points of the movie. Sorry, I should even mention one of the good points. The musical score was
great. That was great.
In that part, that means you take out the bad points sign. You have you talk about the score.
Points.
I was about to do points.
The score was absolutely fantastic. It was just, I don't know who composed it. Like
Michael
Giacchino.
So basically, he does a lot of stuff with. He does a lot of stuff with Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams and so forth. No.
You remember that, and you can put that as you can actually put that as your morning ringtone to wake up in the morning. It's just
again. People will find, I'm sorry, but we have to keep on going back to the Nolan films. Do you realize that he never had a theme?
What?
In the Nolan films, think about it. Batman, there was no Batman theme in any of the Nolan films.
They kept changing.
But
they kept changing the
consistent theme.
Oh, you mean like the I get what you mean.
Batman theme. There isn't one.
I hope they keep this one. I hope every time we see him,
there's literally a song called Batman. So this is his theme. That's his theme. So.
Switching to, I think, the favorite characters now. I want to use a second to make a shout out to DeVito, who played Falcone, man.
No, John Turturro, you mean?
Oh, John Turturro, who played Falcone. Phenomenal, because absolutely quality. To me,
he's mostly over the top in other films, isn't it? But
exactly. Exactly. It's over the top, his comedy, etc. And then to do that, I was like, and I was saying to someone else because they were saying how they rated Batman Begins. I was like, Falcone was in Batman Begins, but he was like almost like a 2-bit criminal stereotype type of thing. Who really was just surviving. I wasn't scared of the dude, if that makes any sense. Like, he was just, and Batman wasn't either. As soon as Batman came in, it was like, right, okay, here, this guy was dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, for someone who doesn't have any powers, who's not psychotic, who's not like, he was a dangerous criminal. To the point where I was thinking, even Batman should be scared of this guy because you don't know how much influence.
How much power
he has. Exactly. It was just, and it's weird because I'm like, is he actually dead? Because when he was I think he was shot.
Yeah, it was shot.
But the way that it was filmed, I was like, and his presence, I was like, is he dead?
I thought he was, but there was nothing definitive. I mean, I just assumed that he was, but there's nothing to definitive.
Exactly. Okay. But you say that because of how he was portrayed as a character.
But obviously, so it was Riddler who shot him, not Penguin. It was obviously the Riddler who shot him.
Yeah, from above. Didn't shoot him. So, but you have that question because of the way because of how dangerous he was written.
Yeah, no, he was dangerous. But you see, this goes back to my criticism of Paul Dano. Is like, you don't need to overact. So less is more. By just playing it low key, we already know that, did this guy get that reporter killed? Oh, look at how everybody is reacting to him. So because he plays very low key, not saying much, you're like, man, this could really be. So we are using our imagination to know how crazy this dude is and so far. Remember, we never saw him strangle anyone. We just hear it over the phone, which is even scarier, hearing the stranger thing over the phone. So,
any other? Obviously, you mentioned
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. Like,
I'm going straight, man. I'm going straight. I'm going to Robert Pattinson. We have to give him his flowers. A lot of people.
Twilight.
A lot of people killed this guy. They were like, "Oh, the Batman is going to glow. The Batman is going to be like this." They kept on giving nicknames. Like, it's gonna be a vampire Batman, the emo Batman. Yes, you can call emo, but what he's done to you guys is he just proved to you that I'm an actor, and for him to just people did rankings, and I'm surprised they did rankings of Batman. Robert Pattinson's Batman has gone so far where now people are confused, saying, "Oh, can I choose between Robert Pattinson and so on and so on?" Robert Pattinson has actually some of the top 10 Batman, the top 5 people have done. He's actually standing at number 1. And why? Because the way he did it was amazing. Don't talk too much, as HH keeps saying. Don't act too much. Don't talk too much. You're scary. That's why you're scary. Like the Batman enters the room, the police were like, "Oh my God, who's this guy?" He is unhinged. We don't know who he is. He's so unhinged, you know.
Yeah.
So I think his acting was great. Like the eyes, you know, like this is the first time we saw like a Batman using his eyes, the way he was looking, the way he looks at you, where he looks around, where he does with his face, like the face expressions. That's what he was doing. Like it's
Also,
very hard to do that.
He was also intelligent as well. Like compared to some of these, you know, again, I don't want to crap on Nolan movies and stuff like that. but let's be real. Like Nolan Batman, Christian Bale, like relied so much on the
villains,
other people, whereas this, you know, whereas this guy, like, because Batman in the comics isn't fair. He's intelligent. He's one of the smartest people. In comics, and at least in this, you're like, obviously, it's not like he's not a geek, but you can see that, like, no, this guy knows what he's talking. He's talking about, and he's actually working through a lot of the stuff himself. And okay, Jim Gordon is there. You know, they
bounce off each other.
Yeah, shows up. But a lot of how Batman's coming is his own innovation and creation and thought process, as opposed to Bale's Batman, which was, okay, yeah, I'm going to get help from Alfred. I'm getting help from Jim. I'm getting help from all his people. I'm getting help from Den. I'm getting help from, like, I never really felt that, aside from the fact that he could fight and he could be a brawler, I never felt that he got there by himself. He needed so much, because that's
help.
That's the nature of Batman. Batman, the reason why, like, there's like a series called, I think, called Tower of Babel, where, I don't know if you heard the comic series, where basically, long story short, Batman has created protocols as to how to take down the Justice League if they ever go awry. You know,
he did. He had all the weaknesses. Yeah,
exactly. You know, so and and typical Batman is like, you know, well, I'm Batman. What happens to me? But that's the point, is that he's so intelligent, so initiative, that he doesn't. Part of his character is that, yes, okay, it's the trauma of, like, not opening up, so he doesn't want to let people in. That's fair enough. But some of it is, as we debated in our Batman versus Punisher video, like, he's just so intelligent that he can literally do it by himself with enough prep time. You know, he's got that. So I like the sort of this almost allude to give this Batman prep time, and he can take down anybody in Gotham, if that makes sense.
Yeah, true.
So, instead of just, I can fight because I'm ripped, i.e. Christian Bale Batman. Cool, man. Any other characters? Any other shout out cuts? Even maybe some of the minor characters, not the big ones. Any minor characters that you noticed that were like?
Even I liked just even the policeman, like you know, the commissioner who ends up obviously getting killed that you see at the beginning. You know,
yeah.
The world just felt so real. Even I've forgotten the guy's name. Is something Skarsgård? Like, I know he's married to Maggie Gyllenhaal, the guy who had the bomb strapped to him.
Oh,
in
yes,
place.
Yeah.
Like, you could. I like that scene because it just basically Gotham felt so much. It felt like this Gotham feels more like a real place than any Gotham in any Batman film.
Yeah.
Where I can feel the texture, the different characters. It feels like a city that I feel can actually really exist, unlike any other Gotham that we've seen. You know.
No, I agree. I agree. I guess last segment of this also, is where do you guys see the future of this? I guess series or, um, is it going to be a series or a sequel or universe?
He
Like,
said the rumors are he wants to do three or something. He wants to do three. He agreed to do
Oh,
three.
a trilogy. Yeah, I think I heard
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about that. He wants to do it like a trilogy. No, I mean, look, I think what is going to happen is because these guys really want to promote HBO Max, so you're going to get Gotham PD on HBO Max, and maybe like an Arkham series. You're going to have those series, and obviously, like I think this film will do well enough as to where there'll be a sequel for sure.
Yeah.
So you're going to have, and I think this would be in. And here's the thing, though. This is why I am more interested in this future than, let's say, MCU and Disney Plus. Because remember, HBO Max is okay. A Gotham PD, if Batman's on there, we can make this thing 18. You know, I don't know whether you guys have you watched Boardwalk Empire?
I've not watched it now.
Yeah, it's like very like the kind of stuff that you see like on HBO, like The Wire, very adult. So you can go really adult and really push it and really investigate and really expand Gotham.
Yeah.
On a Gotham PD show, and then carrying with the movie. So then it will make the films feel even richer, but in a more adult sense.
Yeah, true.
You know? So I think I think it could be really interesting. Look, I feel that what Matt Reeves has created is something really interesting. Because I said again, I've always felt that if you read Batman Year One, you read Arkham Asylum, you read Dark Knight Returns, there is a very dark, edgy Batman that should be. Because see, you can make two kinds of Batman things. You can go the theatrical route, which is what Burton did, what Joe Schumacher did, and what not only that, what Lego Batman is. But then there's a much more adult route, which is almost a horror movie. You know, so because a guy who is dressed as a bat, he's psycho. Like, he's not normal. He's that's an insane thing to do. So there is a much more psychological, horrific horror kind of thing, which is what we do. This is where it went to the Arkham Asylum comic book, where it's a horror movie now. You know, so yeah. I mean, but for me, please, no Joker, man. It's too much. No Joker.
You know what? You can also take it to this point though. If you don't want Joker, or maybe Joker can keep him for the third one, so it goes total psychopath. You know what I mean? Maybe after a few, but I think the second one must be the Court of Owls, because the Court of Owls are more dangerous. There are people like you, and like in Gotham, it can be a waitress, it can be a taxi driver. Everybody's part of the Court of Owls. That can be dangerous.
That's where they're going to. I believe that's where they're going to go. There, they're going to go Court of Owls. I believe.
I think it's one of the reasons why I like the ending of the whole thing, because when you see the ending, when you see obviously when Catwoman leaves, and she's like, listen, it's gonna be total war. So when I see the second, film, I expect, because she was like, listen, you've taken out like life in general, where you take out
the
big guy, and then suddenly there's warfare over different territories and stuff. So at least what I want to see is that we start the second movie with that reality, so like where you are literally seeing like Gotham is basically falling apart, because you're literally seeing segments of Gotham like vying.
Sorry for something. Have you seen that? There's a comic book. I just saw somebody was explaining and breaking down the whole movie with the flooding and everything. There's a comic book where I don't know if that's why they want to go. Maybe they might go and the Court of Owls gets involved. But guess what? The Court of Owls get involved, but they're quiet in the background, pulling strings. But guess who goes face to face? I know you don't like him, HH, but Joker goes face to face against Riddler. Like they start off together as if they're together, like they're friends. Then Riddler says, "Oh my God, this guy is next level." Then he tries to take out the Joker, and the Court of Owls uses them as a way to distract people from exactly what they're doing. Then I don't know if the Joker and the Riddler end up getting taken again. Then the Court of Owls comes later on and reveal that this was the plan and things are messed up again. and that's when Batman has to come back again and say, "Oh, this is bad." So I don't know if they're going that path, because when they said friends, it's like, are they starting like that? Are they going to then crush? Because they crush, and then Riddler says, I am a psychopath, but my man here does like what H just said. Riddler was doing it, being smart, saying, "There's a reason why I'm doing this." While Joker, he kills. There's no reason. He just says,
yeah. He's just mad. He's just mad.
Ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see like the control for Gotham, because, like I said, clearly, like this, like it's like this movie didn't have a happy ending.
Yeah.
Like the whole he saved the day and Riddler's in drink, but like at the end of the day, like that's maybe that's some reason why I like Go into Goodness, why I like the movie, where like it ended where Batman in quote saved the day, but actually when you actually think about it, this is terrible, because every single because no one basically trusts the police or the courts. That's still there.
Yeah,
I know that the election lady, she's saying that, oh, hope and change will fight, blah blah blah, but no one really trusts her, because she's she's black, and like, oh, what are you gonna do? Obama, like change, so it's a bit sketchy, so. There's no trust from the citizens at all, and on top of that, you've now taken off the big guy, as in Falcone, and you've got people vying for territory. So I suspect that Penguin, for example, I think is probably going to be more prevalent, because he's now going to say, "Listen, I can flex my wings, no pun intended, do my thing."
No, and I believe that, because whenever you have a part where things get crazy and worse, I think Penguin is going to be worse. More boss than I think.
Yeah, he is worse. He's worse.
Penguin is good. Penguin is a worse version of this dude. So
Penguin's gonna go, and I say I hope that we see. I hope that we see. Like I said, some, we see maybe Joker's like a Riddler's sort of influence in that aspect, not necessarily full blown aspect, and then we see some other characters. I mean, looking at the Batman mythos, obviously Two-Face. At some point to be led to I would actually like to see a more grounded Scarecrow. I think that could work in this type of movie. So just
actually, have you read Hush?
Oh, Batman Hush. I've not read it, but they did an animated
no, really good comic. I think Jim Lee does the art, very good comic. See, that would be another interesting route to go if they went Hush. That's a really good story.
What about, because we literally talked about villains and stuff like that. What about on the other side, on the heroes? Are people wanting to see Robin, Batgirl, any other?
Nah. The only individual I'd like to see in here is obviously, but we wouldn't see him without becoming Robin, is Dick Grayson as the older version. What
Nightwing.
Nightwing. I'd like to see Nightwing, but I don't want to see him anywhere near this.
But you know what they could do though? You know that kid, the mayor's son.
Yes.
What he looked at.
He could probably,
Yeah, but what sort of Robin would you put in this one? This is a dirty, sick world. You really want a kid?
No, it's for me. I think but Robin only comes when Batman is truly seasoned. When he's been doing it for 6, 7, 8 years. This is year 2. So I think that I don't know how Robin fits into, because by the end of this trilogy is, I'm just now figuring out exactly what I should do and so forth. Robin only comes when Batman is fully established into what he's doing. Right now, he's got no clue and can't balance both lives. So basically, there's no place in his life for at least another 3-4 years for a Robin. So
it's like when you feel like he's like a father type of, or could be a father type of sort of thing. At this point, I'm like, this dude can't be a dad.
No way.
He's not in the right mental space to be looking after any children whatsoever, bro. So I guess maybe obviously you probably want to see more of him and Jim Gordon working together, and I want to see more of that that being developed. I'm just thinking, is there any on the Bat family that could? Because my only thing is that if you don't want it to a point where there's so much bad, so much evil that it's almost completely, especially if Catwoman is not going to be in it, They're like almost completely imbalanced out. Like it is just so.
But hence why I say like,
No.
if I was doing it, keep it with Gordon and Batman. Basically, like I don't know whether you guys have watched this TV show True Detective.
I've watched
like
it.
I've seen a few.
Yeah, like in every season, it's two the detectives. So for me, the aesthetic of this should be Batman and Gordon are two detectives. There are things Gordon can do that Batman can't do. I think that Batman can do that Gordon can't do.
True.
So they use both of their strengths in order to take down whatever threats
True.
which I think is a great angle for.
It's almost like a sort of like a dark body cop type of, you know, the sort of rush hour type of thing, you know, sort of they should go down that kind of route than just no, that's fair. I think that's fair. Fair. Any final thoughts, guys, about this before we round things up?
No. My thing is, again, I'm just interested because I think obviously by the time we get to like the end of next week, most people would have seen it. I just wanted to see what people think, because what I'm seeing right now online is there are people who are finding it's very hard to let go of Dark Knight. And I do think that it's a bit of nostalgia, because some people, let's say they were like 13 or 14 when they saw it. So like, man, I was young and, you know, this was meaning a lot to me. And I think there was so hyped. There was so much hype surrounding it. People will find it hard to let it go. But I think people have to accept that. Now, you may prefer it as far as a preference, but there is no debate that this is, as a film and as a narrative, a more coherent film than the Dark Knight.
Let's be real. The Dark Knight was a Joker movie.
Yeah,
Joker was and the next one was Ben's movie.
Yeah,
Ben was.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't like it was like when it's a Batman movie, it's like it was good, you know. So because Heath Ledger was a brilliant Joker, that's why it was good. Whereas now we are talking about the villains, obviously, but we're not saying the Batman was good because the Riddler. You've had criticisms about the Riddler. We're talking about no, this was good because of how Robert Pattinson portrayed this type of Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Okay, then let me ask you this to you guys then. As far as like a Batman film and Batman being Batman, this or Batman Begins?
I'm picking this one.
This one, yeah.
Do you know why, HH? Do you know that series for the series for Christian Bale? I feel bad for Christian Bale. Maybe I think he also felt it. If I was to ask you right now, if you have asked any fan, that what do you remember about Dark Knight Rises or the next one or the other one? Do you know what they say? Or Tom Hardy or Heath Ledger? It's always the bad guys they remember. Do you, right now off the top, do you remember what Batman did in Dark Knight Rises? Any scene, it's not in your head. All you remember is Joker did this, hospital scene. It's always Joker in your head, or Ben did this, or Ben said this. Even if you look at the memes, Ben said this. The only thing we make fun of is the voice. That's all. I feel bad for him. It's as if Joker featuring Batman, Ben featuring Batman, I guess.
Because I'm a huge fan of Batman Begins. I love Batman Begins, but
that one is a good one.
No, but this is the saddest thing. Do you know that sequence when Batman swoops in and takes out Riddler's henchmen? Batman did more in that section than in all of Nolan's films. Just that one section there of Batman taking those guys and how frantic it was, and how like, bro, this guy's getting knocked off. He has to use his grappling hook. He goes over, a guy points a gun straight to his head, and he's just hanging on. Batman did more in just that small section than in all of Nolan's films, in all of Nolan's 3 films, which is.
Do you want to also hear something bad? Do you remember that warehouse scene in the Batman v Superman? The warehouse scene where he comes out from his place. Yeah. That part of Batman still did more.
Exactly.
It's sad to know that. But trust me, if you ask anybody who's a fanatic of those movies, all they'll tell you about is Tom Hardy and his lectures. Oh, Ben said this. Oh, do you remember when Ben did this? Remember when you never hear? Oh, do you remember when Batman did this? It's always the bad guy.
And I think that's the key, because see, the most Batman of nonsense was Begins, but I can't tell.
Begins was good, yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you an iconic Batman moment where I was like, oh wow, Batman really. There isn't one. But in this film, bro, that scene on the crane, I was like, bro, this guy really pulled through, and he didn't pull through like a superhero. He pulled through like a guy dressed as a bat, trying to figure out how to now take down 5-6 guys armed with guns. You know, so
no, absolutely, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What are your thoughts on the Batman movie? Let us know below. Like, is it better than Dark Knight? Maybe some of you guys might flame this channel. Who knows? You know, so call us fanatics. I've got no idea, you know. So, but I really enjoyed this, guys, because I love this movie, and I definitely want to hear what your thoughts are about this, guys. HH Pat, thank you so much for doing this. Like, it's been really good. We'll obviously be hopefully doing more of this in the future. And by all means, let us know if there's any films, bad movies, maybe Catwoman, I don't know, that you want us to cover in the future.
Are we just okay? Are we going to review the whole movie just based on the outfit? Just the outfit.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, for the outfit, yeah, I'll do that. Like, I'll do like an outfit review. An outfit review.
I'll cuss the fact that they literally made her a cat, which I don't really understand. So, but we'll keep it at that. Right. Have a nice day, everyone. You know, and cheers.
Peace out. Peace.